Hi, and welcome to the first episode of That Wisconsin Sports Show. I'm your host, Aaron, with always
Clayton Wallner.
We're just going to be talking about a lot of Wisconsin sports news, what's coming up, what's going on. So we're going to start off with the Packers. Do you want to start off? What's going on?
So I was going to talk a little bit about the schedule, maybe about the draft. I think the draft, I really like what they did with the first round with Van Ness there.
For sure.
They call him Hercules for a reason. Like, I was watching videos of him. I mean, he is just a monster. Like, he is huge. He is jacked. And especially with Rashawn Gary being out for a while. That's going to be super important to have him. And, we'll see how the other guys do, how they blossom. Because it's a young team. I mean, it's a really young team.
This is the youngest team we've had in I don't know how long.
I mean, I feel like my whole life it's been like the Packers have just been ancient.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like it's like with Rodgers, too, is like he always felt old to me. Maybe that's because I was like a kid growing up.
Right.
But I just feel like it was like everyone on the team was so old, and now, like, I mean, our average age of our skill position players on offense are like 24, which is really cool.
I think Lucas Van Ness was a great acquisition for us because I think something that people really didn't talk about as much last year was just how bad our pass rush was. I mean, we had plays where, our secondary was really good, but you wait 5, 6, 7 seconds before somebody can get to the quarterback. It doesn't matter how good our secondary is.
Yeah.
So that was a huge pickup for us.
Yeah, Rashawn Gary covers a lot of holes. Especially, and obviously we have guys like Preston Smith, and we had Za'Darius for a year there, a couple of years ago. But it's like, because I remember like the pass rush, like with Clay Matthews and when we had like
Perry.
Julius Peppers
Oh, yeah.
too. That was so fun. But like, yeah, now last year was just kind of iffy, and I know last year was so weird. It just like everything felt wrong last year.
Right.
I mean, Rodgers was hurt for a lot. Obviously, he's not there anymore, but. It just we didn't have Adams, but like this year it just feels like we're just resetting. We're not rebuilding the whole team because a lot of the pieces we had, but it's just like building off of what we had last year and just adding youth. Really.
Reloading more than rebuilding for sure.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I was kind of annoyed by with the draft is the lack of offensive linemen. We didn't draft one offensive lineman the entire draft, and that's a need we direly need to figure out. So hopefully we can, figure out some free agent acquisitions or something. But if we have a few injuries on that line, we're not going to be looking too good.
Yeah, I know, because I thought the line usually historically for the Packers guys have been able to fill roles, but I just thought we need more depth now because I don't know. I just always feel not confident, especially with Bakhtiari being out a lot of last year, and there's a lot of questions around his health still. I just don't know how many games he has left in his career. I really don't. So I was thinking the same thing
for sure.
The draft.
And then, we didn't get any defensive backs or safeties or that really can make a difference, but we did add another player with Jonathan Owens, who started all 17 games last year for the Texans. I didn't realize he started that many games, but I didn't watch too many Texans games last year.
I didn't know he was Simone Biles' husband either, so it's like fun to have someone like her around too.
Yeah,
I saw she posted "Go Pack Go." I was like, all right.
We don't get many celebrity athletes or celebrity fans.
You got Lil Wayne, and he's already kind of a nutcase sometimes, so it's kind of cool to have Simone. But yeah, I didn't even know really much about Jonathan Owens. But I looked at stats, I was like, all right, because we need someone, because Amos is probably, we'll re-sign him maybe for a year or two. He's getting up there.
I think with the Jonathan Owens signing, it feels like it's more and more unlikely for us to re-sign him, which hurts a little bit, but,
there's questions about that secondary that I have. Not the corners. I trust the corners. We need Stokes to play again.
For sure.
It feels like it's been a long time. And he's so young, too, and he'll be fine. But it really is those safeties.
It's really important that we figure someone out there because I feel like we have a lot of depth, but it's just like we don't have a star guy there. Like Rudy Ford, we re-signed, and then was it Levitt or someone? I forget his...
Yeah, Dorsey Levitt.
Yeah, I forget
something like that.
We re-signed him, but I don't feel like confident in them being starters at our safety position. That's not going to feel too good, so who knows?
It's just, there's still questions about the whole team, but I did want to talk about the schedule too.
Oh, for sure.
So kind of something that I did just to prepare for this was I separated the schedule into winnable games, meh games, toss up for me, and then probable losses. So it's I think the first 3 weeks we could win because that's Chicago. I mean, Chicago is going to be tougher than it's been in the past 30 years.
Still Chicago, though.
Yeah,
it's
still
not like
Chicago.
this team has a dominant defense this year. There's no, like, big, huge stars that were like, oh, we got to worry about that guy,
Right, exactly. I know the guy like DJ Moore and whatever Chase Claypool does nowadays. I don't even know. I don't know what he does, and I don't know about Justin Fields either. I feel like, well, Packers fans specifically, we're kind of like, we don't like him anyway, because a lot of us are Badger fans, and he's also from Ohio State, so I just do not like him at all.
The hatred runs deep.
Yeah.
No, I think the really important thing to look at with our schedule is strength of schedule, how difficult it is. Out of our entire division, we have the easiest schedule. We have the 27th ranked schedule in the entire NFL. That's going to be really good for us. And then I think the other thing's really good for us is we don't have any stretches of games. We're playing multiple hard teams back to back to back to back. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the toughest part of the schedule is, like, for my, like, probable losses, if we're just going there right away, I have the Chargers and Chiefs. I mean, we host well, are we hosting the Chargers too? Yeah, we are hosting the Chargers and the Chiefs. Gives us a little advantage. I'm not going to give us those games, though, just because I know what they can do. But I think Chargers is like week 11, week 10, week 11, and then Chiefs is week 13. That's really the only stretch of the whole season that, like, we're playing good teams, like, really close to each other. Other than that, it's like I can see us putting together a good string of wins.
It makes me feel confident that we have a few easier games to start off with, or just games that are more winnable versus like playing the Chiefs week 1 or something like that. Yeah. Makes it way easier for Jordan Love to, start feeling more comfortable in the system and what we're doing, and start getting some wins under his belt.
Yeah, because it always I know that he's been in the league now for like this will be his 4th year.
Right.
And he doesn't feel young to me anymore. Like, I feel like he's been here for forever, even though he's now entering his first year starting, and for me it still feels like his rookie year. Like this is his year now. This is his team. And I'm just really excited to see what he does, especially with just a whole new team. I mean, this team is so different than even like 2 years ago. Like, everyone's different.
It's a whole new this is a whole new era, man. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Growing pains. But I think if we can get 8-9 wins out of this season.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even looking at the schedule, I feel like there are 11 games on that schedule that I think we could win.
Makes me feel happy. I mean, if we have a similar record we had last year, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
It's something that I heard this report out of the LA Times is that the Rams requested to not play us in the wintertime because they played us, I think, was it a year ago or 2 years ago they played us? They requested to not play us in the wintertime, and then end up getting scheduled in November outside of Orlando. Yeah. So they were pretty pissed about that. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, because I remember that game. It was cold. I don't think it was snowing that day, but it was definitely cold because it was later in the year.
I think it was like flurrying or something like that.
Yeah, but obviously coming from Los Angeles, those guys, those California kids, they don't like they don't like it in Lambeau. And yeah, it's interesting because, like, I don't know if that'll be the same for the Chargers too, but we'll have to see.
Sure.
I mean, I know Chiefs, because we host some cold weather teams. I mean, Kansas City is a cold weather team.
Really. I wouldn't give us the advantage too much being like, oh, it's cold outside. Be like, yeah, it's cold there too. It just depends on the day. If it's like negative 20 degrees outside, then we can start talking. But, if it's like a 20, 30 degree day, that's not going to do much.
Exactly. And I think, speaking of going to cold weather, I mean, the most interesting game of the year for me on the schedule was at Pittsburgh. I just feel like we're in very similar stages. The Steelers and the Packers. We had very similar years last year in terms of like record. I know they made the. Did they make the playoffs? No, they didn't. They missed it because of the Dolphins, and they had Skylar Thompson.
But
Dolphins had Skylar Thompson.
They did so well, at the end of the season, kind of building up. They had a good defense, young quarterback. Mm-hmm. I mean, similar situation for sure. Cold weather team too.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, Steelers and Packers very similar historically, and I know they got Kenny Pickett over there, so that'll be an interesting game. They're stealing all of our Wisconsin Badgers, too. They drafted Nick Herbig and Keanu Benton, too. So, shout out to the Badgers football team, which I didn't have anything on them today. It's just like college is so tough to like do for an offseason.
I was looking. Recruiting. I saw we had like a 4-star recruit out of Illinois is going to be coming in, a running back. I forget his name, but he's looking.
I mean, the closer we get to the college season, we'll obviously touch on that because that's going to be very exciting in Madison. But yeah, I mean, for the Packers, going back to the Packers, it's just like there's so many more games. Like, this is a perfect situation to start Jordan Love
For sure.
in. Just the schedule-wise, I think it's just so good for him to break in against teams that are struggling. So
Especially with a week 6 bye week. I feel like last year we had like a week 12 or week 13, super late. We thought, this might be better, get a little bit of a break before the playoffs. But in the situation we had last year with some growing pains with the team, it might have been way better for us to have an earlier bye week, kind of reset, feel it out. With the week 6 bye week, I think that could be really in our favor if we're gonna having some growing pains, which we obviously will.
Yeah.
At that point in the season.
Yeah, I think get 5 games under your belt, then get that bye. I mean, if it was like a veteran team, I'd be kind of like, we get our break right away, and then like you're going in the playoffs already playing, 11 straight games or whatever that is, and it's like whatever. But this year it's a little different because we don't really know where we're gonna stand at the end of the year. So like getting that break right away and just like assessing like where you're at.
Yeah,
that'll be important.
A playoff, going to the playoffs, not a guarantee for us. Betting odds still have us last in the division, betting wise, behind the Bears, behind the Lions, and behind the Vikings.
Yeah, I don't even know what my pick would be right now. It'd probably still be the Vikings.
The Lions are the betting
Lions.
Favorite currently.
Are they?
The Vikings are number 2, Bears number 3.
After they drafted 50 running backs.
Yeah,
this draft.
Their team, it doesn't make any sense
to me. I don't know. But
it made me happy watching. You're like, all right, Lions gonna Lions somehow.
It'll all come full circle, but
it's all gonna happen. But I mean, it makes me happy that going into. I feel like we're always like the team. They're like, oh yeah, you're gonna get to the NFC Championship game, and then when we lose, it's like.
Yeah, I don't like having that mantra around our team, but it is what it is. You gotta eat your losses. And
we got the underdog mentality now.
Now it's a little different because before with Rodgers, we were expected to win every game we played.
Exactly.
And this year, there's not many fans around the country that think that we would win ever. Like going into a game, it's like, oh, the Packers could lose this. Like, it's something like we're not used to. Like,
for sure.
Because our whole childhood, I mean, we just saw greatness for our literally up until last year. So like.
Besides for like the 2017-2018 run where like there's injury and
with the injuries, but outside of some oddball years, it was like every year we're saying, oh, we could literally win it all this year. Obviously, didn't always happen, but we don't have to go through that. But we're focusing on this year, not the pain in the past.
I think we're gonna do a lot better than people are saying. I think 6-7 wins is what we're projected to get based on professionals, but it's still I think we're gonna do better than what people think.
Yeah, I think I got us at like 9 wins this year, and that even I know that NFC South is gonna be really bad, and 9 wins could get you in the playoffs in the NFC.
For sure.
8 wins almost got the Lions in the playoffs, or it almost got 3 teams into the playoffs last year.
If we would have gone 9-8, we won that last game, we would have been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a very similar NFC this next year.
I don't see any changes.
No, besides for the Eagles continuing to be good, I mean, do you see any front runners in the NFC that are like, oh, that team's going to be dangerous?
If the 49ers have a healthy quarterback.
Exactly, but every team has a question mark besides for them.
Literally, the Eagles are the only team that doesn't even have a question mark. It's like, now for them, it's like Super Bowl, like make it a Super Bowl or bust.
For sure.
They're so well-rounded. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I mean, Howie Roseman, our GM, is just unreal. I mean, he's just, the way he's drafted the last 3 years, it's been nuts. But yeah, I mean, the NFC's going to be wide open. It still is. I don't care who's our quarterback. You could have Brett Hundley back there. Maybe not Brett Hundley, but
chewing his gum.
Deshaun Kaiser.
I think it's cool that we're starting and ending with the Bears, starting there, and then we'll get to end. I think it'll be good for us. I think, not too tough an opponent, hopefully, at the end of the year. And if we're in a similar situation as last year, play and you're in.
It would be so sweet to beat the Bears at home to make the playoffs. Because I think that's where we're going to be. If I were to make a prediction, I think we'd be what's the math? We'd be 8-8 right there. I think we'd be going for our 9th win to make the playoffs.
I think the Lions would have to shoot themselves in the foot to not have an opportunity to win the division this year.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Vikings this year are in a situation where they lost a lot of pieces and now they're kind of restructuring and kind of figuring out what they are. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. They're not going to be what they were last year. Obviously, everyone knows it was a fluke year for, with their point differential that they had and first round exits in the playoffs.
Saw that coming.
Exactly. So they're not going to be that good next year. So if they're going to be 8-9, 9-8, maybe 10-7,
Yeah.
It's like, if that's the bar to try getting into the playoffs with a division win, that's a total possibility for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the NFC North itself could be wide open. But, we'll see. I mean, we're still so far, and we could still make some signings. And you never know what's going to happen. We're still haven't even hit summer yet. So
Yeah.
it's tough to say. But is there...
Do you want to move over to the Bucks?
Yeah, sure.
Let's
so,
do it.
I mean, for the Bucks, obviously we saw one of the most embarrassing losses of my sports fanhood life. I mean, that was
awful.
Not only did we lose to the 8 seed, we lost to the 8 seed in 5 at home.
Even if you say like, oh, we didn't have Giannis, it's like, okay, still
lost 2 with him, and we still had him for part of game 1.
Tyler Hero, their best shooter, also out. They didn't have, they could have said, oh yeah, we didn't have our best shooter, and they could have done the same thing, but
we should have beaten them. We could have had Chris or and Giannis out. We could have both of them out, and we still should have beaten the Heat. But and it was a coaching decision. I mean, I know we won a ring with Budenholzer, but I don't know.
It feels like we won the championship despite Budenholzer at some times.
It had nothing to do with him.
Exactly.
Ultimately. And yeah, I mean, that was just willpower from Giannis, especially if you watched Game 6 in 2021, you know that we won that because of Giannis, not because of coaching. And the years we've lost, 19, 20, 22, 23, the prime of Giannis so far, it's because of coaching. It's because Budenholzer he didn't know when to take guys out, and he didn't know when to tell guys. Like, if you just tell Chris to get going, he'll get going.
For sure.
But he let Giannis take these pull-ups, and he did that in 2019 against the Raptors, too, and 2019 was a mess because of Eric Bledsoe. Whatever.
We just need to do what we do best. Giannis should not be shooting threes, and Chris shouldn't be playing hero ball for 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and Drew Holiday, too. I love this team. I really do. Like, I love all of these guys. They're a family with each other. The teamwork, the leadership among the guys is awesome. I mean, Drew Holiday just won Teammate of the Year for the 3rd time in 4 years. Obviously, the players are doing something right. You pair them with a good coach, and we're gonna stay a threat.
I think we just got to find a good, players coach that could really thrive in this team. And I think, I don't think we are going to be doing anything anytime soon. What I've heard from the organization is they're in no rush to actually sign a coach. But, who knows? Maybe in the next month or two here, we'll see what's going to happen.
Yeah, we just need a coach that's just going to be able to use Giannis as, like, the foundation, but build off of that. It just felt like we were depending on him to do a lot. And, like, I said this, like, even in 2021, like, we win, like, Giannis will keep us in games no matter the score, but Chris wins us games. Chris Middleton wins us games. Like, we were not in the NBA Finals if it weren't for him.
It's game 7 against the Nets. Who finished that game? It wasn't Giannis, it was Chris.
He wins us games. Outside of Game 6, I mean, Chris won us so many games, and he still has, and he still does, and it is interesting. I'm just looking at our free agents. Well, Middleton has a player option, so I think he'll come back. But the only guys I want back are Brooke and Chris, because we got Joe Ingles, Wesley Matthews, Jay Crowder as unrestricted free agents. I don't expect us to bring those guys back.
I would assume that we're going to try making a run or make a contract, try to give in something to Jay Crowder, just because we gave up so much to get him. If we got him for, half a year, all those second-round picks are off the picks we gave. What's the point? Why'd we do that? So hopefully we can get him back so it feels a little less of a burden for all the picks we lost there. But
he certainly wasn't the player that we thought he was going to be.
No.
I mean, he just was so bad. He was really bad. I liked him. I liked Wesley Matthews better than Jay Crowder, but Wesley's really old, so I don't expect us to re-sign him. But
no, I don't think so. I think some of these coaching hires will be interesting with, Mark Jackson being a candidate and Monty Williams being my personal favorite that we're looking at potentially.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know about Monty because he's the only guy that I ever saw Coach Bud out-coach. That worries me a little bit if we were to get Monty Williams. He's a great guy. I've heard him talk. He even came into the locker room after the Bucks won the finals. That. I mean, he's a really good guy. He seems like a player's coach. The guys love him.
That's what I think we need to look for, is like a player's coach like that.
Yeah, I mean, I love Mark Jackson personally, former Warriors coach. He had like a 53 winning percentage.
Oh yeah.
Something like that. I mean,
above
he was above
500.
average, but he helped the core Warriors that we know now, Draymond, Clay, and Steph, kind of grow into their own. Because Steph started with Mark Jackson. He didn't start with, obviously Steve Kerr gets all the credit, but Mark Jackson was the guy who really built that up, and he's the reason that they are who they are today. But that would be interesting to see him come in to a team that's already built, like a foundation.
Be interesting to see.
Yeah, but the other guys, I have the list of them. I'm not going to list them all off. I don't know like anything about them anyway.
The one other guy that I saw that kept getting listed was JJ Redick. That was fun that I kept seeing.
I don't know. He's weird. I mean, I love him. I love his podcast. I just am not a fan of former players coaching, especially the Bucks. We tried with Jason Kidd, and
that didn't work out too well.
I mean, that was just horrible. And he's horrible for the Mavs, too.
I love JJ Redick.
I love JJ Redick. I mean, he's so smart. I listen to his podcast. Like, I listen to his stuff, and I learned so much about the game. But some of those guys just don't need to be coaching. Personally.
For sure.
But
I did see an NBA insider for ESPN, Brian Windhorst, reporting that a connection between the Bucks sale and when we're selling. Was it part of the team or was it the entire team? I forget.
It was a third of it.
Something like that.
We sold a third of it to the Browns guys.
So I heard that there's some uncertainty from Giannis, and because of the sale of the team, uncertainty with his future. So I think this next coaching hire is a big part about the future of our team. We could be having Giannis for his entire career if we continue on the train we're on, but if we have a bad season next year, I mean, he's not going to want to stay around.
No, and yeah, I mean, Giannis, I think he'll be the biggest reason why whoever gets hired. And the ownership worries me because the guy that's selling his stake, I think it's a third or a quarter, something like that, he's the whole reason why we have Drew and Chris. So he extended Chris, and then he's the one who got Drew. So, I mean, he was the reason for this whole core of guys. That's what worries me a little bit, and I know the Browns guys are known for kind of selling out, so it worries me. I understand why Giannis would be concerned too, but yeah, the coach is going to be this is huge, whoever we get. It's because next season is going to be big, because I think it's the last year that we're going to get the best out of the four core guys of Drew, Chris, Giannis, and Brooke. Obviously, Giannis will be good for a while, but the other guys are kind of aging.
Aging, yeah, for sure.
I mean, Brooke is like 34.
Wasn't Chris 32 or 33?
32, 33. Drew is probably 30, 31.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this doesn't last forever. We're in the golden age of Milwaukee Bucks basketball. This is what we were dreaming of when we won 15 games Giannis' rookie year. This was the whole point. And it's like, to ruin that would be, like, to only get one ring would be so sad.
It hurts because it's the exact same thing that happened to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Yep.
And if history repeats itself in a different sport for Wisconsin, we'd be pretty pissed off.
And it's just, that's what if I wanted to segue a little bit into the Brewers quickly, that's what I thought.
He's back.
In 2018, Christian Yelich may be back. We say this 4,000 times a year, but he has hit 3 homers in 2 games, and we just swept the Kansas City Royals pretty easily, other than a walk-off last night. But it was like with prime Yelich that we got for 2 years. Should have won back-to-back MVPs. But it's like you see these special talents like through Wisconsin sports history too. It's like you don't want to waste that. And it feels like 2018 was like the year for the Brewers, and we were just toast.
You couldn't do it.
We were toast. We couldn't do it. And it's just like sickening every year. And that's why I'm so jealous of like Boston fans. I mean, they get everything they want plus a little extra, and it's like, I don't know.
I would say they're like, their time's come. They're not going to be good. But I mean, historically, when was a time when a Boston fan didn't have a franchise that was on a tear for a few rings?
Yeah, like the Boston Bruins just lost. Obviously, historically, first round. I'm not a big hockey guy. I just know that's a really big deal for them to lose in the first round. They had the most wins ever in like NHL regular season history, and to go down. But what happened today? The Boston Celtics advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals, so they're not losing. They don't lose, but Wisconsin, we lose a lot.
I think the future is bright for us. But Luke Fickell and the Badgers, I think we're looking good there. And with the Bucks. How do you think about the Brewers? I mean, we've been on a little bit of a losing streak. Get our get back series here. How do you think we're gonna be going moving forward here?
It's tough. I mean, you play the Royals, you sweep them, but it's like
It's the
you
Royals.
can only take that. I mean, they have like 12 wins on the year. We've had 12 wins in the last like 20 days. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to judge them. We got the Cardinals tomorrow, obviously, division rival who also stinks this year. But the St. Louis Cardinals always going to be a tough opponent, regardless. They could have 0 wins on the year. They're going to be tough. But the Brewers as a whole, I'm happy where we're at. We're a game and a half up on the division. We're leading the division right now. And, young guys are going. And it's we have some injuries. Brandon Woodruff, Aaron Ashby, some key pitchers. But I like where we're sitting right now.
Anything else you really want to talk about?
I don't think so. This was a good opening episode.
Yeah,
I think just going over everything, and as the season progresses, we just go from there.
Feel pretty good. I think we're going to try doing 1 episode a week, kind of weekly. I haven't really decided on it. Maybe Monday be a good upload day or something like that.
There's enough that happens in a week. We can kind of go over that and
for sure.
go from there. So
Awesome. Well, it's been a great first episode. We'll see you guys in the next one.